calligraphy, right?
Calligraphy.
Calligraphy.
Calligraphy?
Calligraphy.
Calligraphy could set a better emotional tone for the entire day.
Calligraphy. Wow.
Wow, what is the big deal about calligraphy? Why is everybody talking about it, and why does it matter? Well, for one thing, it inspired Steve Jobs. When he took a calligraphy class in college, he realized that letter forms carry emotion and affect how we feel when we read. Later, he implemented a choice of fonts into the Macintosh, which was the first mass-market personal computer to offer multiple stylized typefaces. And now we have more than 500,000 fonts to choose from today. Digital fonts are derived from hand lettering and calligraphy. But does the art of making calligraphy mystify you? Or are you worried that your handwriting is too messy? Or maybe you're looking for a creative outlet to explore making art, but you get overwhelmed by all the choices and not sure where to start. You are in the right place. I love sharing tips about calligraphy and art to spark inspiration for other people to reconnect with their creativity. In this video, I'm busting the biggest myth about learning calligraphy and showing you a couple of important tips that are paramount to learning the art form, plus a bonus tip at the end that will give you a valuable perspective that might surprise you. There's just something about that tactile feel of ink on paper that fires up our creative side versus typing text into a brightly lit screen full of distractions. It's an artistic meditation, a form of self-expression, and targeted written communications all at the same time. And it's good for you. It's a dopamine hit that's not on a screen. It's tangible, it's relaxing, and it's fun. You can spell out exactly what you want to say and style the letter forms to reflect the nuance and emotion. Isn't that nice? But let's zoom out for a second and have a lightning round recap of calligraphy's origin story. Calligraphy has been evolving for over 2,000 years. And it wasn't just art, it was technology. Every book, every legal document, every piece of written communication depended on the skill of calligraphy and hand lettering. Roman scribes, medieval monks, Renaissance scholars, they spent decades mastering this craft because there was no other way to preserve knowledge. Then the Gutenberg printing press changed everything in 1440. But even after printing was invented, calligraphy and formal penmanship remained a taught skill well into the 1900s. Then came the digital revolution. Email in 1971, texting in 1992, smartphones in 2007. In just 50 years, we've completely outsourced the hand-brain connection that our ancestors spent centuries perfecting. We've gained speed and convenience, but lost something essential, that tangible human connection. That's why calligraphy still matters. The more digital we become, the more we value anything handmade. Here's the biggest myth about calligraphy.
You must have good handwriting.
Let's get this out of the way. Your handwriting has nothing to do with creating calligraphy, except that it uses the same hand that you write with, and you are making letters. So if your chicken scratch handwriting makes you think, I could never do calligraphy, take a look at this. This is my handwriting. Skipped letters, misspelling, nothing's lined up. I'm just trying to capture my thoughts as they happen, and my hand can't keep up with my brain. Maybe some of you can relate to that. And here's my calligraphy. It looks nothing like my handwriting because it's not my handwriting. It's my calligraphy art. Our brain uses different pathways for these two activities. When you're writing notes or lists, you're processing information and spelling it out so that you can remember it. Your temporal lobe is quietly doing the heavy lifting here, processing the sounds of language, pulling from memory, and making sense of what you hear. And you're using your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, your working memory headquarters. It's one of the most cognitively demanding multitasking activities that we do. But calligraphy, that's more like drawing than writing. You're focused on the forms of the letters and each individual stroke using spatial awareness, combined with the physical hand-eye coordination. Making art also lowers the stress hormone cortisol, boosts that feel-good dopamine, and can induce a flow state that quiets the mind. One study found that making art reduced cortisol levels after just 45 minutes. So think of calligraphy as creative art making, not handwriting or taking notes. You actually need to fight your natural handwriting habits. Instead of quickly flowing from left to right, you have to slow down and make deliberate letter strokes that are more vertical while slowly moving from left to right. Or is it right? Watch what happens when I use this calligraphy pen with my regular handwriting. It's a disaster. There's too many thick strokes overlapping each other, making it hard to read and blobby. But when I use the same pen with calligraphy lettering, completely different result. There is a vertical consistency and a dramatic contrast between the thick and thin strokes and their consistency, which is the hallmark of calligraphy. Don't forget to subscribe if you're interested in learning more about calligraphy, art, and creativity. Here's the next tip.
Pen angle is everything.
When you hold the angle of the pen tip consistently on the paper, you get the thickest possible mark when you pull down at 45 degrees, and extremely thin strokes on the same 45-degree pen angle moving up. As the nib size gets larger, the letters become more dramatic because of the contrast. The downstrokes are as wide as the pen tip, while the thinner upstrokes remain relatively the same for each pen tip size because it's literally the width of the metal. This style of calligraphy is called blackletter, and it requires a 45-degree pen angle with a chisel-edged pen tip, whether it's a marker, a fountain pen, or a dip pen. A brush with a flat edge will work too. Chancery calligraphy uses a 30-degree pen angle, and uncial calligraphy uses a 20-degree pen angle. The more consistent these strokes are, the more appealing your calligraphy will be. Next tip.
Spacing is everything.
The white space between the letters is just as important as the letters themselves. In fact, it's crucial. Thoughtful and consistent spacing creates a polished, rhythmic, and visually striking composition that's legible and balanced. And if you think about it, from what we see in the world around us, your eye is already trained to see consistent spacing as stable, elegant, balanced, synchronized, and even as safety. Evenly spaced elements create a visual calm, and in calligraphy, consistent spacing gives us those same feels and makes the text both readable and artistically cohesive. But here's the key. Letters require optical spacing, not mechanical spacing. A picket fence has exact spacing between each of the boards. With calligraphy, each letter has unique features: flourishes, loops, crossbars, open counter spaces, ascenders and descenders, which is what makes them recognizable and legible. You're balancing white space, not measuring with a ruler. Let's take this word for example. As I'm lettering, I'm placing each letter according to optical spacing and the letter shapes that are next to each other. But if each letter were spaced mechanically, exactly from the outer edge of each letter, the loose and inconsistent spacing dilutes the impact and makes it harder to read. It just doesn't look right. The spacing should be tight enough for the words to hold together as a unit while having enough spacing for the letters to be readable. And the more you practice, the better you get at starting each letter in the correct spot. A good tip for this is to imagine pouring something between the letters like sand or water. In this case, I'm using coffee because it smells so good.
Folgers taste good as fresh perked.
The volume of coffee between each letter should be similar. For open letters like this L, you have to imagine a barrier partway into the letter. I consider this bigger space as part of the letter. Rounded letters have extra space at the top and bottom to account for, and this small opening in the G can be considered as part of the letter. And if you want to know why I chose the word golf, check out the comments. These are the areas between the letters where you optically imagine the same amount of volume between the letters. This is why I'm doing a voiceover. I've measured out about the same amount of coffee to pour between the letters. I don't know if I got it right, but let's see if this works. Oops, I kind of missed, but pretty close. By the way, no coffee grounds were harmed in the making of this video. They were recycled into actual coffee so that I could finish this edit. There we have it. I did kind of mess up. I forgot to put barriers on the bottom of the O, which allowed too much coffee to get in there. But hopefully this visual is helpful. I spent years as a professional lettering artist in the greeting card industry before becoming a multimedia designer and creative director in New York. And what I learned in drawing letters by hand is exactly what I applied to typography, kerning, and font decisions in the commercial work that I do. And I apply these same principles with calligraphy as the foundation of my abstract art. Calligraphy is just one method to spark your inner artist, and what's great is that it costs almost nothing to start. This marker, under $5. My black letter calligraphy practice sheets, free to download, and YouTube is overflowing with free tutorials. It doesn't matter if you've never made art before or don't consider yourself artistic or creative. I believe that everyone is creative and artistic. Creativity isn't locked away in the minds of rare geniuses. It's woven into our human nature. It's already in you. You just need a method that works for you to unlock it.